Hello, hello, hello. I am so glad to be here with you on Finding Joy Live. This is the first time we're talking since the beginning of the year, and I'm so glad to be here, right? To connect. I scheduled out this time specifically so that we could just be together, just me and you, without anybody to interview. Now, I'm going to just say that that means I have to actually put my do not disturb on, which apparently I didn't do. So and that's on purpose. I really wanted to take this time at the beginning of the year to talk to you in a way that I hope really sets you up for reaching for the happiness, the joy that you are ready for. You're getting ready for more and more and more each day, and you are ready for it. So today, I want to talk to you about prioritizing joy, right? Finding joy instead of perfection. And the reason that I feel like that's something we need to talk about is that culturally it's January. And so everybody is reaching for the thing that they think is going to make them more successful, have more freedom, have more time on their hands, be happier, right? So the goal is always to just be happier, right? That's always the goal. No matter what your goals really are, they're usually about how can I please myself, please others, be happy, right? So we set up all these goalposts and we go like, that guy, he lost weight and he feels better. Maybe I should do that. Oh, that one over there, she got a better job. Maybe that'll feel better, right? So we set up all these goalposts and we go like, now we're going to have our morning routine that so and so wrote that I'm going to do this and then 10 minutes of this and then 5 minutes of that and then a half hour of that. And oh, the problem is I'm not doing it long enough. Let me schedule in more time. And how am I going to be with my kids? Oh, I should be happier about being around my kids. I should put that on the list of things I should improve this January. So all of that sounds exhausting because it is. It's exhausting, right? It's exhausting to jump through hoops that you don't want to jump through in order to please yourself. So, the trick here is to prioritize the happiness over the stuff. Now, what usually happens right about that moment when I say that is that people go like, "Oh, so I'm just going to be happy and fat or happy and poor or whatever it was that I was reaching for." And the truth is, no, it's not what you're going to be. When you are happy, you reach for equilibrium in every area of your life. It's the natural way that we reach for things, right? So it's easy to reach for the goals, right? The man made goals, the things that we want. Once we have some peace, once the inside job is done, once we have some connection to ourselves, right? And once we have experienced happiness and joy, but not just as a one off experience, not just like, oh, today I laughed, I'm okay, check, right? No, but really a basis of happy and joy, right? And that can lead to all sorts of things. That can lead to playful and silly and all different things, right? Because that's dependent on your personality. Where you take happy, joy, wonder, where you take that depends on who you are. You don't, not everybody wants to experience things the exact same way as the person next to them, right? And that can only happen when you have that real basis of joy. So you're here with me today. If you want to put in the comments, what is it that you think you would like to have in your life if you felt happy? One of the big ways you can really turn this on its head is to start there. If I was completely satisfied, if I had everything in the world that I think I need to make myself complete, if I had that feeling, what would I reach for? What would I want at that moment. And that's a really different place to reach for growth from, right? Because that's a joyous place to reach for growth from. So let me know in the comments if you're around right now or on the replay. I'd like to know, right? What does that feel like to you? So a lot of what we've got set up as a society is perfection. You should look like this, and you should be like this, and you should earn like this, and you should interact with people like this, and your relationship should look like this, right? So when you just kind of sweep all that away and let it be easy and not a demand on you, what does it feel like inside, right? So the reason it is definitely my mission to help people to prioritize this feeling is because this feeling of joy, of happiness is the feeling that when we can attain this, then all of these other things that we want fall into place. And that's why it's the thing worth working on, right? It's why I have a membership. It's why I support this type of activity as much as possible, right? Because if you can reach for it, if you can find it daily, if you can find it moment to moment to moment, then all of your interactions change, right? Because what happens when you walk in the door and you're in a crappy mood, as opposed to what happens when you walk in the door and you're feeling fine, right? When you're feeling really good, when you're like, life is good, and you walk into a cranky room, you go like, oh, this is a cranky room. Okay. Oh, you're asking me a question? I will answer it from this place of lightness, right? And so all of those relationships shift. People's hearts open up around you when you're walking around with this big open heart, right? And that doesn't mean that you get stomped, right? I know there are a lot of you, particularly because I know a lot of empaths, and I adore a lot of empaths and people who are very sensitive to energy. So I'm not suggesting that you get stomped on, right? I'm not suggesting that you mingle with other people's energy without making a discernment about whose energy you'd like to mingle with and whose you wouldn't like to mingle with, about what that means to you, right? What is your commitment in that mingling, right? Not just walking in a door, but in what way am I having this mutual relationship with you? So I hope that this is really helpful for you, because if you can find that inner space, then that is light, it's airy, it's easy. Then all of those other choices that you're making right now, you're making lists, you're putting them on the refrigerator, right? You're trying to do things repetitively, you're trying to change a habit. All of those things can fall into place in a totally different way. I am a sci-fi fan, and so I know that some people are into it and some people are not, but I am. And I recently saw a show that Stanley is producing, and it's about real life superheroes. And those real life superheroes, they're built differently than other people. They're going around the world, they're interviewing real people and how they became different from other people. Some people were born that way, some people had an incident that made that happen in themselves, right? But they are participating in a really different way. And I want to say to you that your results can be like the superhero, right? Doing this work puts you in a position where your relationships, your relationship to one another, but also your relationship to yourself, to the events in your life, to the things that usually knock people down, right? For a year or 2 or 5 or 10, and you're still standing and you're still happy, right? Those are the things that change in a superhuman kind of way when you decide to do this work, to prioritize it differently, right? To be different, to step into that new you that is happy. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I'm really glad to get to talk to you about it. And I would love to have some feedback if you want to put some in the comments or DM me. Whatever is fine with me. I don't mind being contacted. So that would be awesome. And maybe most importantly, figure out where you are on that roadmap, right? So we've talked a little bit about the roadmap before, but let me remind you that when you think of the emotions as if they are on a map, they're spread out on a map, then for me, this is an excellent visualization. And I think it will work for you as well, because then you can really see this is a map and it's large. And the town of anger, revenge, irritation, frustration, hope, right, is nowhere near joy and happiness. I have to drive through a few things to get there. And that's also how it works for us, right? We can't get from the vibration of anger to the vibration of happiness, of true joy, of lightness, of wonder, of any of those wonderful things that are there near joy. We can't get there unless we're willing to go through a few other steps. Now, doesn't mean you have to live in those other steps. It does mean you could drive quickly through frustration and irritation and get all the way to hope, right? But that process, it's an important process. And to really be able to say to yourself, I am willing to feel just a little better in order to feel a lot better, is really important. So this quiz that I have up on the screen for you at roadmaptomorejoy.com will help you to know, where am I right now, right? It's a quiz you could take over and over again. Where am I right now? And not where am I generally in my life, maybe, but where am I in this moment and what can I do about it? How do I start off from where I am to where I want to go? Maybe you don't live in Frustrationville, right? Maybe you live over here in Hope. And in Hope, you sometimes drive in both directions. Depends on the day. You go for a sunny drive over to Happyville, and then other days you go for a cloudy drive over to Irritationville, right? So no matter where you are, knowing where you are and consciously choosing where you want to go from there is going to make all of your other desires easier to attain. Okay, so I know it's short, but I think you've heard enough from me. It's a very compact message and it's a lot. It's actually a lot, right? Because we're in this world that is full of stuff and it's full of behavior and it's full of other people. And so what we're sort of grinding through day to day, it can be a lot. So this message, if you really break it down, if you really sit and listen to it and say, okay, I'm willing to just hear you for just a second here, for just 15 minutes, then you can start to make some real change. And the biggest thing is just go take the 2-minute quiz, because it is so simple, so fast, really kind of fun, and will give you some instruction at the end of it about how you can reach for wherever you are to where you want to go. Okay? So I hope you guys are having a great New Year's. And I will see you in just a little while, probably next week. I'm not positive what the schedule is, but I will see you soon. And in the meantime, be joyous.